Hey everyone, Grayson the Bard here, and welcome back to day 26 of the Hunt-A-Day. We are back in Monster Hunter World. I am doing some multiplayer quests with a good friend of mine who I have been playing this game with since I think Iceborne came out, was when we really started going ham on the co-op angle of it. And it's been a hot minute since we jumped into a quest together in this game, and it felt good to be back. I wanted us to jump in with something simple, something easy, so that we wouldn't get too overwhelmed jumping back in after all this time. And so, of course, I threw us at an Elder Dragon right away. Yes, today we are fighting Namielle, who is one of the other Monster Hunter World exclusive Elder Dragons, and a close second for my favorite Elder Dragon in this game. I still love Valhazak so much, and that will kind of always be my number one of the Elder Dragons in World. But Namielle is a close second. Its fight is really, really cool. And of course, by really, really cool, I mean a major pain in the ass until you get a handle on all its fight mechanics and figure out how to deal with its water and electricity in tandem, and remember not to stand in the puddles because those will hurt you. You'll see watching the video that I definitely shake off a lot of rust early on in this and start to get more into the swing of things towards the end of the hunt, and it was just really, really fun. Namielle, I don't know if this was just a slightly smaller version of it, but I remember Namielle being bigger when we fought it the first time. I still absolutely love it, but it just looks a little short and stubby in this fight that we're doing, and I was not expecting that. I was expecting more big, imposing, colossal dragon. That's what I remembered in my head. And then we get in there, and it's a short king, and that is in no way a dig. As a short person myself, we respect it. But in general, I absolutely love Namielle's design. I've mentioned before how much I love aquatic life in general. When I was a kid, I was 100% you had your dinosaur kids, you had your dragon kids. I was a sea life kid. I tried to learn everything I could about weird sea creatures, and Namielle, as a design, kind of scratches that itch on a dragon's body. The big bioluminescent wings, the weird little feelers that almost have an anglerfish angle to them, the hammer shark head. It's just got a combined mishmash of a bunch of deep sea creatures but on land, and it is so cool. The coloration is dope. The deep blacks and blues with the red on the face, just making it pop out. It is so fun. If they ever made a miniature of Namielle, I would love to paint it, but it is unfortunately one of the ones that I don't think got one in the Monster Hunter World board game, unless they made one for the Iceborne expansion they did for it, but I didn't buy that one yet. I want to actually finish painting all of the base game minis before I dig into that. I think my only major complaints about Namielle as a creature in general don't have anything to do with the fight or with its design, but with its armor and weapon designs. The armor is fine. I like kind of the weird leather aesthetic. It makes you look like, when you're playing with a female hunter, it makes you look like a squid kid from Splatoon. But the weapons are, I think, all that Monster Hunter World slap-on design, where it's just the base bone or iron weapon with some scales and little flappy bits attached to the hilt. And I hate that so much, and I am so happy that it seems to be a relic of the past, although it does suck that Capcom kind of confirmed that any monsters coming back who started in World and had those base slap-on designs are not going to be getting unique, bespoke designs, and are instead still going to have those ugly slap-ons as their main weapon designs for games going forward, which I think they confirmed that in an interview for Monster Hunter Rise, because any of the monsters that came back from World, like Puke Puke, Anjanath, Gyarados, if they had slap-on designs in that game, they had slap-on designs in Rise. So that really sucks, and it kind of hampers me wanting to see Namielle a little bit again, because I would love to see what kind of crazy stuff they could come up with for actual cool-looking weapon designs for Namielle instead of just the boring slap-on ones. But we're not here to talk about what I want to see come back in Wilds or in the future. We're here to talk about what I think is going to come back in Wilds or the future. And I was talking to my friend to see what he thought, and we both kind of had a very similar idea that we don't think Namielle is going to come back in Wilds, but we for sure think that Namielle is going to show up in later games. And the big reason for that is, at least in the base games, they always seem to have like 2 or 3 Elder Dragons max, aside from, you know, the flagship monster or the big final endgame boss. And I would actually hazard a guess that the returning Elder Dragons that we get in Wilds aren't going to show up until, like, the expansion. I think any new Elder Dragons are going to be tied specifically to the maps and to the weather things that those maps have going on, similar to how the Apex monsters are tied to those weather mechanics, at least from what I have seen in Wilds. Again, I am only going off of, like, I'm still only speculating off of stuff from the Gamescom footage in August. But so maybe we'll see Namielle show up in the expansion if they want to bring it back. They already have a more modern rigged up skeleton, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. But I also think they might let it sit out a game. They tend to be much more reserved with bringing back Elder Dragons who aren't the Chameleos, Teostra, and Kushala Daora trio. So I'm going to stick to my guns, and I'm going to say that we are not going to see it in Wilds. I'm going to say maybe like a 3 or 4 out of 10 possibility of it returning in Wilds. And I think we're going to see it again, though, because it is such a cool design. And I think people did really like it design-wise. I've seen people talk about how they weren't the biggest fan of the fight itself, but that can always be retooled and redone. If they could make Giratodus a slightly more interesting fight, they can make Namielle into a fight that addresses whatever concerns the community had with it. So 3 or 4 out of 10 for Wilds. I'd say maybe 6 or 7 out of 10 for returning in a future game. It's not one of the big popular trio that gets brought back all the time, so that kind of knocks it down a couple points, but I think it is cool and unique enough that they would be doing a disservice to not have it come back at some point. And that's all for the ramble for today. Stick around to the end of the fight if you can. I really appreciate all the people who do. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Don't if you don't. I am always more than happy to continue conversation about anything I talk about in these rambles down in the comments. So please, if you agree, disagree, want to call me an idiot, go for it. All engagement is good engagement, baby. And until next time, I'll see you next time.